way. I got lightning running through my veins. Ain't nobody gonna stop this train. So hop on board or get out the way, 'cause I was born this way. I got lightning running through my veins.
Welcome to the Coach Farrington Show. I'm your host, Orlando Wells, and Coach Farrington, how you doing this morning?
Great, doing great.
It's always better to do one of these shows after a win than it is after a loss, you know?
Yes, it is. It certainly is. That was a big win for us.
I think it was. It's amazing that 2 years in a row we go up there to Pioneer Field and it's a barn burner, and you don't know what to expect, because I think in the third quarter of this game, I'm watching this game from home and I'm writing my notes and I'm typing them out and I'm thinking, man, we're killing these guys. We're just going to cruise away with a victory. And it's 35-14 and a minute and 12 to go in the third quarter. I'm thinking, we have no problem. But it wasn't an easy game by any means, was it?
No, not at all. Not at all. You never, in these region games, which were not in the conference, and you play the South Atlantic Conference teams, and really anybody in today's game, they're never out of it because of how they spread the field, and there's playmakers all over the field. And then when that momentum, you see it in 1A, you see it in 1AA, you see it in the NFL, the momentum shifts, plays start happening, then you're not able to execute on either side of the ball, go through stretches, and it's a ball game. So it's who can make the most plays and who makes the last play at the end.
Yeah, I think some of the big things were it's like a 7-7 ball game, and Justin drops back to pass. They do a safety blitz. He gets hit from the blind side. Mike Mosa picks the ball up, runs 72 yards. It's the longest kickoff. It's the longest fumble return in Pioneer history. And, you know, I think that was a momentum swing. I think this game was an ebb and flow of those types of things.
It was. It was. We were fortunate. We opened up the first drive. We ended up stopping them. I think they got we won the toss. We kicked off to them. We ended up getting a stop. And we never felt easy, even though we did get a few stops. We were really having to work hard and got the ball offensively, drove it down. Had a couple misfires on some penalties, but we ended up getting a touchdown on the first drive, and that was good. Tusculum might have answered back. I'm trying to remember. But there in the flow of the game, they did. They had a blitz called. We didn't pick it up. They did a good job. Hit the quarterback in the back, and the ball came out of Nelson's hand, and they scooped it up and ran it in. And our guys hung in there, and we had some really nice kickoff returns all night long. We did a great job there, special teams-wise. We knew coming into the game that we had to make some game-changing plays on the special teams, and it ended up we were able to do that.
Yeah, 75 yards a clip, we'll take that. I mean, that was a 75-yard kickoff return in the second quarter. But what I thought we did well, Coach, Nelson, who's a poised guy now, he's comfortable with the system. He runs the system. After the big turnover, sometimes that can just spark that team, but we methodically drove the ball down, like a 58-yard drive, and we score. And to tie the game up. I think it's real important to always respond when you have a potential, when you're on the road and you got that potential of the momentum just swinging and then everything flows down like rushing water. But we were able to just methodically come back and answer that. I thought that was important.
Well, our coaches do a great job of staying even keel, and Nelson offensively is an even keel guy. He never gets up too high when we do make good plays, or too low when we make a bad one on the offensive side of the ball, and that starts from the top. And so we were able to execute down. Nelson knows the offense, and we just continued to hopefully make some progress, make improvement there, and was able to make plays and keep us going and be that steady, calming influence.
Yes, sir. And I just wanted to highlight, there was a record-setting night on both sides of the ball. Nelson throws for 5 touchdowns. I mean, he was 24 of 30 for 358 yards. I mean, that's just great to have that kind of you know you're going to get 300, yards from the quarterback every week, it seems like. And you want to speak to offensive coordinator Coach Pizza about how that system works and it allows him to just get those yards every week?
Well, as I mentioned, they do a great job. Our coaches do a great job being prepared each week. And obviously you got to have the guys in the uniforms that can execute it of taking what the defense gives you. And our system tries to give you the opportunity to do that. And Nelson so far has been able to take to it and believe in the system as well as all positions. And they're able to execute it down the field. But he sees things and he knows where to go with it. And it's week to week. You say throw for over 300 yards. Really, it's just trying to take what they give you. It might be 150 one week or where you run it a little bit more. And Trey Walker didn't play for us. He was out. We played with Ashton Hurd and a true freshman, Tristan Jackson, in the backfield. And both of them did a really good job. And we had some good job blocking and opened up some holes. And we were steady with the running game. And Nelson actually had a big game running the ball for us. When the numbers were there, he was able to disconnect on the zone play and keep it, and really was a thorn in their side with that all night.
I think he really in the third quarter he breaks off this 58-yard run. It's great to have an all-world quarterback. What I mean by that, he has 300 yards passing, but he leads the team in rushing too. So it's very unusual to have that kind of skill set, and for him to be able to scramble out of trouble or see what the defense is giving him to do that, I think that's just amazing to have. On the defensive side, our two sophomore linebackers, Sam Houston set a school record with 18 tackles. Quan Weeks total 16 stops. Anthony Blair had 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. He also had, for the season total now, a 4.5 sacks. So we hope that Anthony keeps plugging the middle like that. And then Tony Godbolt had 12 tackles. And so we had our defensive guys, even though the score, I guess, it indicates that the game was just a runaway offensive game. This game was I felt like a game of big plays, and where they broke big plays at a time, but yet still our defense was consistent. They got big stops. As a matter of fact, they were down in the red zone under the 30-yard line 4 times, and they came away with nothing. Now, when you can get a defense that can, the opposing offense gets in the red zone, they get down there 4 times and they come away with no points. I think that's a great defensive performance as well.
Well, they're playing hard, and of course, defensive side of the ball are defensive coaches, and we want to see progress. And we were out there for 90-something plays, 99, I think it was, when you add up the number of attempts, carries, and pass attempts was 99 ball plays, which is a lot of snaps. Yes, 18 times we had them in third down. They were successful 9 or 8 of those 18. I'm trying to remember. We had them in fourth down 6 times. So they were off the field downs, you might say, essentially 18 or 24 times when you tally that up. And that is really, unless you're getting off that field all the time, that's way too many times. We're still trying to play together. We were kind of our own worst enemy at times, getting out of position, maybe leverage on the ball, and then they get a new rack of downs. You get a little bit tighter. Your leverage is a little bit not as effective. Your tackling goes down. And then you give them more snaps to try to create big plays. But we were very excited with the fight to be able to come out with in the red zone with 4 trips where we won and they scored nothing. We played a whole game and got 1 takeaway at the end on the fumble and the kickoff return. However, we had 4 stops on 4th down, which in our eyes, those are like takeaways too. We take the ball away from them, even though it doesn't go down as a turnover stat. So we're working hard, and we had a lot of young guys playing. Linebackers are just filling the gaps that the defensive line are taking up and allows us to make plays. But Anthony Blair, you mentioned Anthony, actually almost had another sack. Quarterback was close to being down. He flipped it to the back. So we're getting good production out of those guys.
And my thing is, it's important, and I know you know this from a coach, but it's important late in the game. If early in your game you're getting off the field quicker, you're not as tired late in the game, and you don't let a team come back. I think if we can work on that maybe a little bit more, we'll have a little bit more energy at the end of the game.
That's what we're trying to get to. In the second half, I think they had 5 possessions of over 10 plays or more. So you're looking at 50-plus plays on just 5 possessions. There was more than 5 possessions in the second half.
Yes,
And our guys were still able to come away with some fourth down stops, some stops in the red zone. Big stop on a sudden change. We phoned it down there deep. So they're fighting. We just got to continue to get them to play together. And get some mistakes corrected.
And when you got a lot of new faces and you got young guys, that just takes the consistency. People realize, now in the day of free agency, you can see this even on the pro level. You get a bunch of star players, but they're not used to playing together. And the more a team gels and you get to know, okay, he's going to play over here, so I'm going to play a little bit here. And that just comes with playing with each other, just the chemistry of the team.
That's called trust. Yes, and we're trying to develop trust throughout this program and throughout this team.
Yes, sir. Well, I wanted to switch gears, and we're going to talk about the upcoming game. We got a 7 o'clock game. I think night games are always special. We got the Brevard Tornadoes coming in. What are some of your thoughts on Brevard coming in?
Well, I do want to get to that, but one thing I do want to mention is it was a huge finish with that drive and that snap, hold, and kick. Not to go back,
I'm just a little bit anxious.
I know you are.
Let's talk about
freshman long snapper.
Yes, sir.
And he snapped that ball in there pretty all night long, and great protection and hold and kick to finish it. And we had missed a field goal kind of down in that area earlier in the game. And that nailed it for us.
I'm glad.
So now we can go on to Brevard.
Well, let's visit that, because in the second quarter, we have a 75-yard kickoff return, and then we start the drive stalls out, and then we didn't come away points because we missed one. But then there was redemption, and what we would be remiss if we didn't say the game-winning field goal by Justin Gravely to do that, and there's. Before that, you got 2 minutes left, a little bit less than 2 minutes. You drive the length of the field, and then you hit a game-winning field goal right at the end. And that's a lot of pressure on the long snapper as well as the kicker. I mean, if we make this kick, we go home. If we not, we're playing more, and we don't know what's going to happen after that. So I'm glad that we had that in the bank to do that.
Well, Coach Bain does a great job with those guys. Michael Bain is our women's lacrosse coach now, and he handles our kickers and specialists. And coming into the year, we had no idea. We kind of had an idea who our holder was going to be. He was a backup holder last year, Stuart Hunt. Long snapper, we didn't know who our long snapper was going to be. So we have a brand new long snapper, a brand new holder, place kickers back. But it took us a while to get timing, and of course now, that game's over with, that kick's over with, we've got to move on to the next one. But those guys got to gel together, and you talk about trust, they've got to be a lot of trust there through the whole operation to, it looks easy, but it's not, and especially when the game's on the line. So
I think it's wonderful if you were watching the game, and we didn't have coverage from the video side or the radio side from us, so I was actually having to suffer through the Tusculum broadcast. But just to see the reaction of those guys when that kick goes through, it's some of those moments of why you love to play the game, because you fought hard, you're tired, you're thinking, come on, let this field goal go through it, and just the reaction, the jubilation on the sideline is what makes the game playing and what makes the game watching. So I really enjoy that. So we're going to switch gears now, and we're going to talk about Brevard. The Brevard Tornadoes are coming in. They're an 0-3 team, and they're 0-1 in the SAC, but I venture we're going to have a 7 o'clock game here, and we're going to see a very hungry Brevard Tornado team coming in.
We will see a very, very hungry Brevard Tornado team coming in. They are as good a 0-3 team. I guess they are 0-3 because I look at the stats and I don't see 0-3. I see them running the football for a lot of yards against Western Carolina, 390 plus against Liberty, and 400 plus against Carson Newman. And they know what they're doing. Defensively, they'll line up similar to what we do in a 3-4 is kind of what they'll base out of. So there'll be a handful there. We went up and played them last year, and then offensively they're going to line up in the triple, and they've got a quarterback that can execute and a fullback that knows what he's doing, and slot backs that can play. So they're a handful.
So you said that 0-3 is very deceiving. Well,
very deceiving.
If you look at their stats, they like to rush the ball a lot. I mean, they're averaging 400 yards a game rushing. I mean, that's a lot of yards to be average a game rushing the ball.
And make no mistake about it, just because you average 400, everybody says, well, they like to run. Yes, they do, but they know what they're doing to get the ball to the fullback where he can run it, or the quarterback, or the pitch man. They know how to scheme you and do a lot of good things with it. So a big challenge for us.
Okay. Because I think, you know, they just finished the game with Carson Newman. The score was 55-42, and they're probably thinking, man, if we just had a couple more quarters, they could pull that out. So I know they're going to come in here hungry. Do you think anything that we can do as far as defensively scheming to slow them down? I mean, what would be your, just a general, I don't want to give away game points, but what you think you just, maybe if we can get defensive pressure, kind of reestablish the line of scrimmage, or, I mean, anything like that you think that we can do?
Well, line of scrimmage is always huge against anybody, and even more so against Paul and there at Brevard. But you know, you say you got to be disciplined, and it's simple. You have to take the dive and the quarterback. Yes, you've got to play assignment football, but you've got to. We need to be sound, and we need to tackle well. If they get 4 yards, the ball needs to be tackled right there at 4 yards, and then it's 2nd and 6, or 3rd and 6, or whatever the case may be. And if we can get them off schedule, anytime you're playing an option team, they want to be on schedule. They want 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 6, just like all offenses. And if you can get them in 2nd and long and 3rd and long, then that's huge. What they run, there's very few negative plays unless they're putting the ball on the ground a lot. They don't put the ball on the ground a lot, I don't think. From what I've seen, they've got experience in ball handling areas, so they'll protect the ball. And anytime you can get some penetration and disrupt a play, it's good. But that's why they run what they run, because it's hard to get penetration and disrupt plays if you got somebody at the quarterback position that can read it out, and they do.
So I guess what we could say is we want our offense to play as well as they have been playing, and we want our defense to have an outstanding game this coming Saturday.
Yeah. We want to be very sound. We don't want to give up the big plays, and they can get you sucked up with play action. And but we want to have that pitch back leveraged. We want to try to take it out and get the ball pitched. And if they run it right at us, you know, Wofford ran the ball right at us. We got to have a presence at the line of scrimmage.
Yes, sir.
Because their fullback is as good as any.
Well, that'll be it for today's show. Thank you, Coach Farrington, for taking the time out of your business schedule, because you got to go prepare for this Brevard Tornado team that's coming in. And we'd like to thank you for joining us today for the Coach Farrington Show. I'm your host, Orlando Wells, on the campus of North Greenville University, where Christ makes a difference. And we'll see you next week.
I know. Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. Boy, I lost it, I'm foolish. Running off at the tulips. Probably wooing all the cruelest, persecutors, the forest. Catch me hanging with shooters, rumors.